So let's just start with the biggest question imaginable, right? How on earth does a nation of over 1.4 billion people, with all its incredible diversity, actually govern itself? I mean, when you think about it, it sounds almost impossible, but the answer is actually pretty elegant.
And that's the key. This is the whole point. This wasn't a system that was just dropped in from the outside. No, after a long, hard-fought struggle for independence, the citizens of a new, free country finally got to call the shots and design a framework for themselves, by themselves.
You know, every great machine, every complex piece of engineering, it starts with a blueprint. And for India's democracy, that essential blueprint is its constitution. This is the document that laid out the entire design for how the nation would work.
I absolutely love this quote from one of the Constitution's framers. It just perfectly captures this idea that the Constitution isn't some dusty old rule book sitting on a shelf. It's a living, breathing document. It's designed to be a vehicle of life, to grow and evolve right along with the nation and its people.
So what are the core principles written into this blueprint? Well, first, sovereignty. The idea that India makes its own decisions, period. Second, and this was huge at the time, universal adult franchise. One person, one vote, for every single adult citizen. This directly leads to the third point, Parliament, the supreme body that makes the laws. And all of this rests on that final, most important principle. The whole system only works with the consent of the people.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and look at the engine room of this whole democratic machine, the Parliament. Now, it's not just one big room. It's cleverly designed with two separate parts, and there's a really good reason for that.
The fancy term for this two-part setup is bicameral. Bi means two, and cameral just means chamber. So, two chambers. In India, you know them as the Lok Sabha, which translates to the House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, or the Council of States.
Now this is where the design gets really clever. The two houses have totally different jobs. The Lok Sabha is the direct voice of the people. Its members are the ones you vote for in the general elections. It represents the national mood. But the Rajya Sabha, it represents the interests of the individual states. Its members are chosen by the state governments. It's a brilliant design, really, that creates a balance between the will of the entire country and the unique needs of its diverse states. That's federalism in action.
So we have this two-house engine, but how does it actually do anything? How does it produce something? Well, let's follow the journey of a single idea as it gets transformed from a simple proposal into a law that affects millions of lives. To make this process feel real, let's look at a specific case study, the Right to Education Act, or RTE. It started as an idea, a principle rooted in the Constitution. It was debated for years, and then it finally began its formal journey through Parliament as a bill. And what exactly is a bill? It's simple, really. It's just a draft, a proposal for a new law. Think of it like an architect's blueprint for a building. It's the detailed plan, but it has to be scrutinized, debated, and approved before anyone can start building. And this shows just how tough that journey is. A bill is introduced, then it often goes to a special committee of experts who just pick it apart. Then it's debated on the floor of the House, clause by painful clause. If it passes, well, it's not done yet. The entire process has to be repeated in the other house. Only if and when both houses agree on the exact same text does it finally go to the president for a signature. That's the moment it officially transforms from a bill into an act.
Making laws is one half of the equation, but who actually carries them out? Who implements them? Now we're looking at the other major part of the machine, the executive branch, which we usually just call the government. They're the ones responsible for putting all those laws into practice.
So the executive is led by the president, who is the head of state. But the real day-to-day cower, the person running the show, is the prime minister, the head of government, along with their team of ministers. And here's a key feature of the system. These ministers are also members of parliament. This means the executive and the legislature aren't totally separate. They're woven together.
So if the government is made up of MPs, how do you make sure they're held accountable? Well, one of the most powerful tools is something called the Question Hour. You can think of it as a built-in weekly performance review live on television. For 1 hour, any member of parliament can stand up and directly grill a government minister about their policies and actions.
And trust me, it is not always dry and formal. This incredible, almost poetic exchange from 2011 shows just how dynamic and, well, human it can be. It's a moment of direct public accountability where leaders have to answer for their decisions, sometimes with amazing passion and wit. This is democracy in real time.
What's so remarkable is that this whole structure we've been talking about, the legislature, the executive, it's basically mirrored at the state level. Power is shared.
The prime minister at the national level has a counterpart in the chief minister at the state level. This federal structure is designed to balance national unity with local needs. It's just smart.
And here's a question for you to think about. Unlike the national parliament, state legislatures can be either bicameral, with 2 houses, or unicameral, with just 1. Do you happen to know which system your state uses? It's a great way to connect this big national framework to how things work right where you live.
So we've seen how laws are made and how they're implemented, but what keeps the whole system from going off the rails? What are the safety mechanisms? The final part of our owner's manual is all about maintenance, safety, and the all-important checks and balances.
The ultimate check on power in this system is the judiciary. The courts act as the custodian, the guardian of the Constitution. It's their job to make sure that any law passed by Parliament or any action taken by the government follows the original blueprint. They are the referees who make sure everyone is playing by the rules.
But even the best designed machine needs maintenance. This data here is like a diagnostic report, and it's pointing to a check engine light. Look at the productivity of the Rajya Sabha. A former chairman pointed out this decline. I mean, a low of just 36% in 2018? That's a stark reminder that when there are constant disruptions, the machine isn't running. And when it isn't running, crucial work isn't getting done.
And that's not the only challenge, right? Issues like members just not showing up or a feeling that the quality of debates has gone down, these aren't just small procedural issues. They have real consequences. It means less scrutiny of laws that affect your daily life and less accountability for the government. And this is where the owner part of our manual becomes so critical. An informed, engaged public is the best way to demand better performance from the machine.
And that brings us to this incredibly powerful closing thought from former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. It's a profound reminder that the system itself, the democratic machine, is more important than any one person or any one party. As the owners, the responsibility for its upkeep, its endurance, and its health, well, that ultimately rests with us, the people. The real question is, how do we make sure this machine keeps running for the next generation?